not crazy, but I find it nice that it's things that people are explaining to me about who I am versus me coming up with it myself. Doing all this content and being the person I've been over the past few years, in the past half decade or so, is like I kept thinking I'm the one who has to know it all, and if there's changes in my body, it's because I brought them upon. If it's self-reflection, it's because I self-reflected instead of somebody saying
Hmm.
something to me like, I think this is how you behave. I'm seeing it as a third person. I feel like
Hmm.
this is how you are. Is that true? And then I'm like, oh wait, that is true. you
Mm.
know Allowing other people to have their input in my life does not reduce my own life autonomy. I always
True.
thought it did. I was always like, I don't listen to anybody else, and I will always make my own decisions, and if it's not a decision that I made, then that means I lost some autonomy in my life or whatever it is.
Mm.
So it's been very interesting for the past year, like trying to take feedback and like all that stuff. Feedback. I was talking to Tisu the other day of like, we were talking about how like for self marketing, you need to be able to speak properly and to be able to market yourself, match made in heaven, or confidence in yourself or whatever it is. I think criticism, I'm going to add that to that bucket of like, I think a well-rounded person can speak well, market themselves well, but then it can also take criticism well. And those three right now are like my bucket of a well-rounded person, and a good human. But yeah, criticism's tough. Criticism's tough.
I agree. How do you normally take criticism?
Funny enough, this was the topic of my therapy session this morning, but it was, I try to solve the problem before somebody even tries to talk to me about it, or I try to identify the thing that they could critique beforehand, so that if I already know what the critique is, and then you're telling me the critique, there's no feeling of like fear, rejection, invalidation, like self-deprecation. It's like, okay, cool, I know it, and so you're just telling me something that I already know, and then my ego feels happy.
Mm.
But if I don't know it, and then somebody tells me, I think you behave like this, I think this was like an issue, or I think this is like something you did, and I have no awareness of it, then I start feeling that fear, rejection, invalidation, um, upsetment. It hurts the ego, hurts the pride, all that stuff. And what I've been trying to do is just trying to let go. And this also falls into like the need for control. So like I've been trying to like not need to control everything. Don't have to think about it. Don't need to know like the entire problem and have the solution before I go into the room or pose a question. Or if somebody gives me feedback, I need to be open and listen and kind of think like, I don't even want to think, is it valid, is it not? I just want to say like, okay, accept it. Their perception of you is their perception of you. Accept the criticism based on their perception of you, and then later on I can process it and feel like, is it like, how does it feel, all that stuff. I try to logic through all of it. My therapist was like, I think you need to work on feelings. I'm like, you're probably right, but I try to
You're
logic through.
like, hey man, keep it to yourself, buddy. Like, I don't need
I
that
don't like,
criticism.
I don't feel
Yeah.
good after you said that, so um I don't do well with feedback that I don't know it's coming. I think that's like the one sentence answer.
I think it's in a sense unfair and unkind to offer criticism when someone's not asking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in those moments where it doesn't feel good to receive criticism when we're not expecting it is totally fair
Mm-hmm.
because again, we didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so it's I think in that sense it's important for that other person that's giving you critique to be more mindful of like why they're giving critique and
Mm-hmm.
when it's appropriate to give a critique
Mm-hmm.
because it's not always appropriate. There
Yeah.
are some people that I've met in my life where it's like, hey, I always try to be brutally honest and just be right there in the moment. And I'm like, I don't think like you care about that person enough then, because if you genuinely cared about them, you would interpret when the right like timing would be to
Mm-hmm.
give them that criticism
Good point.
versus like kicking them when they're down already if it's like a
Mm-hmm.
negative situation or even when it's a high like when they've just accomplished something great but you have criticism be like let them live in their moment for a second and then when they are ready to receive criticism then you can even offer if they're like ready for it, don't even
Right.
just start with the criticism. So I think this is the big thing. So I mean I'm sorry that people have done that to you, it's not fair.
I mean, it's fine. I think it's just part and parcel of growing up, right? Like whether it's sometimes it happens in a job, sometimes it happens in personal relationships, right? It happens everywhere. I think it's just how you deal with it. And like I said, the way I dealt with it is just always self-critiquing my own actions and behaviors, and that's why like I'm always self-aware, so to like to the minutia, so
Mhm.
that I can be aware of that, and then that's my steel wall. So that's one of the things that I'm actually working on is now, well, not working on, going to be working on, is that side of it, which means opening up and being emotionally vulnerable in the moment and allowing yourself to receive things as they come, at the same time communicating, okay, maybe now is not the best time to talk to me about that. Maybe like, um, let's like let's try and talk about it at a different date or things like that,
Man,
right?
I love that.
Um, so fun stuff, fun stuff. Um,
It's so important. It's so
it no,
important.
it really is. I think I'm trying not to like just rant and like, or not rant, but like go off on tangents, because I think I usually tend to, this conversation could have taken me to a different topic and then another topic and then
Dude,
another topic.
I mean,
And
we're
so
here to talk, man. We're
we are
yapping.
here to talk, but given that when I listen back to these conversations, when I edit them, and I'm like, that shit could have been like 15, 20 minutes tops, and now it's
Man.
40.
Okay, wait.
Um,
Can I say one more thing about this
yeah,
before we get back on
sure.
track? I just want to support you in what you were saying of like, being communicative in the moment when you are receiving criticism that was unwarranted, to
Hmm.
be able to be like, hey, um, this is how I'm feeling in this moment. I don't think this is the best time for me to receive that kind of feedback or criticism, but this is what I need to hear or be or do right now. And then, because that person is just trying to, it's just all about like intention and
Exactly.
like just, so it's like that person's just trying to help,
Hmm.
but then you have to kind of guide them and be like, hey, like this is not the kind of help that I'm needing in this moment, but
Hmm.
I would like this kind of help. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, okay, because I was just trying to help you, and now you've done a fantastic job of
Hmm.
communicating how I can help you. Then
Right.
I will do that.
Right.
And then maybe later when you're ready to have that conversation, we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just awesome. I think um, in any type of relationship, friendships or whatever, having that kind of communication, understanding that each person has different timing is it's such a game changer.
Hmm.
Such a game changer to be like just to live in harmony.
Yeah. And I've never been the kind of person who gives critiques or feedback or anything like that, if it's, unless it's like just, a positive, like, great job, whatever it is. I've never been the one to like be the person who gives like the negative critique ever, unless asked, only for this exact reason of like, they didn't ask. And so it's like, oh, why didn't you
Right.
tell me this earlier? You didn't ask. Oh, why didn't you do this earlier? You didn't ask. And I'm not going to assume that you want my thoughts, words, whatever it is in this moment, unless you ask. So then that lets me know maybe you're prepared and ready for it.